Hi everybody, I hope y'all are doing well. I thought I would do a little bedside chat with you today and talk about the topic of is non-duality fake? So have you ever listened to maybe some of the non-dual speakers, or maybe you've read some books, or you've heard over and over that there is no you don't exist, you're not there, you're not doing anything, you don't have a life, you don't have beliefs. Have you ever heard those things and felt like, no, that's not right? I can feel myself. I know I have beliefs. I know I'm here. I know I'm sitting in a bedroom. I know I live in such and such town. And you get to the conclusion that possibly non-duality is fake, or it's something that just you can't obtain for some reason. So I wanted to talk about that because I think that's a recurring question and a recurring concern with some people that come across this word non-duality and maybe start watching some of these videos and things, and they start having this reaction of either fear that this is true and that they're going to disappear or lose who they are, or that they're going to follow a false teaching of some kind, or go down some rabbit hole that's going to lead them to being basically like a blob of nothingness. And I think that is a real concern for a lot of people. And then some people may even get very frustrated with the non-dual message, depending on how it's presented. If it's presented more on the side of emptiness and nothingness, and that's not, let's say, your experience, then it can be very frustrating and almost something that could make somebody pretty angry over time, as well as, considering it fake or writing it off. So I'd like to discuss that topic in this video. So if you are interested in that sort of thing, sit with me and let's have this chat about this. And I have some information at the end that you may like to hear about my channel. So talking about, is non-duality fake? So non-duality is not fake. Non-duality is already what this reality is. It's literally everything that's happening. Even if you perceive, or you're saying, I think non-duality is fake, or I think meditating is fake, or I think that, being a Christian is fake, or any of those thoughts, that is it too. That is actually non-duality as well. Anything and everything is accepted. Everything is arising how it is. So everything that happens is already non-duality. Non-duality isn't some speakers that are just only talking about emptiness and nothingness and the no self. That is actually not non-duality. So that's what I'm starting to really want to convey in some of these videos. Although they're titled non-duality, a lot of times I title it that because that's the kind of conversation that I'll be having from that perspective. But non-duality is already what is. So it doesn't really matter what your beliefs are, what you're doing, what you've done, whether or not you believe non-duality is fake. This is already non-duality. This is already it. There is no other anything happening. But non-duality is not a belief, so it's not like it's a religion or something that could even really be followed. But I'm starting to see that possibly some people are taking it as maybe like a religion or something to follow, or something that is now just becoming like a whole nother religion for some people. So some people, I grew up Christian, so Christianity was my religion. It was something that I believed this, and this, and this. There's some, core values and things. And I think that that's starting to happen with non-duality. That some people are listening to this message and starting to follow it as a religion. And while non-duality, there's nothing wrong with that, it can just sometimes create a little bit of more suffering and struggle before having the actual realization, which is why I just wanted to talk about it. So I do hold value for any speakers that I guess you would call them neoadvita, if you are listening to those sorts of speakers that pretty much just annihilate the self, the self, then those teachings, or maybe they're not teachings, they would just consider themselves speakers. Those speakers, I can see why that is, because they're trying to get rid of the self, or bring some awareness to, even though there's no one to be aware, bring some awareness that there is really nothing and no one doing this. So they're basically trying to go just right to it. So even in Christianity, there's different sorts of preachers and preaching styles. And in the past, there was some preaching styles called the brimstone and fire teachings, or preachers. And what they would do was pretty much condemn the person, that they are a sinner and that they need God and these sorts of things, and they'd go right to it. And it would be very, very direct and confrontational. Sometimes it could arise anxiety in the person, those sorts of things. But it was a sort of teaching style or preaching style that would get people to come to Christ quicker and realize this faster. Now, this is something similar to the neoadvita, in my opinion. I think that they're just trying to go directly to the issue of that there is no self, to have that first realization. So I would say there's different levels of realization, or different keys that unlock different things, sort of thing. So possibly you have this realization or this understanding from the neoadvita teachers, or the really radical non-duality teachers, that there is no self. They may get there and, get all that to you, and you feel the emptiness, the nothingness. You start to realize that there is no self. The ego starts breaking down, and some people call it an ego death. So let's say that you're in that state and that starts to happen. I would say that's the first part of awakening. So if it was an egg, let's say we're cracking the egg, we've cracked it on the counter, and it's now got the little crack in it. So that's how I would see that, is that the emptiness is starting to show what it is. It's cracking. It's showing that it's not really what you thought it was. And then the second part of it would be, integrating that emptiness to everything, that, nothing is really happening. But that could be a place that could be causing some suffering and some grief with some people. In losing the self, there's a sense of grief. Also in losing the sense of self, for some people there's some anxiety, there's some fear. Now for me, it happened all at once, all the three facets of realization. So I didn't exactly experience that, but I see that among the clients and stuff that I talk to, and I see that among the questions that I receive, is there's a lot of fear there. So if you had that initial glimpse, or you've had that break into nothingness, then you may be there in nothingness, but you still haven't had the realization of nothingness and also having fullness. So the next facet of it would be to recognize that emptiness is also fullness. So although everything is empty and there is no you, there is still life. There is life. That is what is everything. So the fullness would be life arising. So not really just seeing the emptiness of it, but seeing the miracle that emptiness can also be full. So this is empty, this is an illusion, but this hair, I can touch it, I can feel it. It feels alive, it's happening, I can brush it, I can, move it. It feels a certain way. All of that is the fullness of life. And if I saw it just as emptiness, I may see myself as nothing, as just a blob here sitting, and I may not be very productive, or I may be stifling my growth. And anything that happens is totally accepted. So for example, if that is happening, that's to be accepted. But in speaking about this in this video, it's going to give a path to what comes next. So if you're experiencing emptiness, or if you've watched these teachers, I say there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's completely fine. Whether someone else says it's fake or not, everything already is an illusion. Everything already is fake. anything and everything that happens is accepted. So if you're feeling, empty, that's okay. You're there. The dangers are when, you may come to this emptiness without any kind of concept or understanding or any just grounding of what that is and what would come next. So my purpose in this video is to let you know that non-duality isn't fake. Nothing is really fake in the sense that, this is on a hierarchy, a better teaching or a lesser teaching or whatnot. There is no better teaching or less teaching or any of that. Everything is equal and accepted here, including non-duality, including believing and worshiping anything and everything. It's all accepted. So sometimes in the non-dual circle, we want to kind of gravitate, and I myself am guilty of this, of wanting to gravitate more to non-dual talk, non-dual messages, things like that. But essentially, that's putting you back into a box. So now maybe you weren't a Christian, you're not a Christian anymore, you're not bound by this dogma, but now you're getting into the dogma of being into the non-duality circle. So if you're in that circle, then you're going to be trapped by that. The vocabulary, putting it into a hierarchy. Is this person teaching this a certain way and this other person's teaching it a certain way, and this is better than that? Nothing is really better than another. And people want to throw away all of these other spiritual teachings, such as Christianity or like law of attraction or mindfulness, any of these things. They're all still very useful and valid. Whatever is happening for you and is working for you is exactly where you need to be. So you want to follow your heart. So the first facet would be the recognizing emptiness and nothingness, and that comes from having that maybe the no self fall away, maybe during watching a non-dual speaker or maybe some experience you had. So first is the emptiness, and after the emptiness is realized is that everything is full. And a lot of times those go together, they happen at the same time. But if it's just recognized as a concept or as knowledge, you may only be seeing the emptiness and the nothingness because you're hearing the vocabulary of these speakers or reading something in a book that is portraying it that way. But when you've had the realization, to me, it would seem that you would have both at the same time. If it was, a genuine realization that wasn't just knowledge or conceptualized, it was actually felt. You would feel the emptiness and you would feel the fullness of it. So you wouldn't go into this depression or fear in hearing it or experiencing it. You would have a point of elation, of being happy to see how everything is empty. So there's no consequence or anything that to tie to. You're free to be anything and everything, and you are everything. So you have the emptiness of being nothing, but the fullness of being everything. So those are the two facets of realization at first. Now the greatest realization is the third one. And that one comes, and for me, it all came at once. It came in stages, and you can watch some of my other videos, some of the things that happened. But the ultimate last realization I had all three at the same time. So the third one is to be awakened to love. And while I had had some experiences with awakening to love prior to this one was tied to the emptiness and the fullness and love. So it was 3 in 1. So love is pretty much what I would call what overlays everything. The ultimate understanding or realization is love. That everything is love and everything is happening and connecting with love. That's what the glue is. That's what's in everything. And when these things arise that are empty but they're so full, there's a next level of loving it. of completely and totally loving whatever is arising. So first you know it's empty, which is like, wow, this is empty. It's like nothing. And then it's arising as something. So it's like magic. It's like air just turned into, let's say, a unicorn. And so that air was nothing, but it's a unicorn. And then next after that, it's like, wow, after having that realization of what a miracle it is, it's loving it. It's like, wow, I love this. It's so beautiful. And even things that we don't like, we can get to the point where we can see how it is love. So that's the unconditional love. And so the ultimate overlaying realization of everything, of the no self and all of this, is unconditional love in everything. You are loved. Everything that you've ever done has been loved, has been wanted, has been accepted. So while sometimes we want to say this teaching is no good, or this non-dual teacher says this wrong or does this, everybody's an individual and has a different realization path and what happens. So to say that this person shouldn't meditate, or this person shouldn't go on this retreat, or this person shouldn't do this or that because they're never going to be realized that way, I find that problematic. Yet there is really no problems anywhere, but in the sense of me understanding this, I see the problem in that I see that those things, even though they aren't the ultimate realization, they're really no different. You can be in the state of making vision boards for the law of attraction. That's completely fine. Or you can be a guru sitting underneath a tree having realized that everything is oneness. They're equal. So it's kind of like saying that, kindergartner is, we shouldn't teach kindergarten because the information is just useless. Learning colors, learning numbers, learning letters is useless. It's not anything. We should just jump and learn how to write essays. Well, that doesn't make any sense. So life meets the person where they're at, or where it wants to do, what it wants to be, what it wants to arise as, what it wants to do. So anything and everything is fine. And sometimes there are progressions that we can see, even though ultimately there is no cause and effect or anything happening that way. Everything's already here. We can kind of see, though, that, okay, this person started off doing this, and then something happened and they realized and they were doing this, and then they came to this. So whatever's happening is going to move a person somewhere. No one ever stays the same. Everything is always changing and growing. And just as soon as you want to become complacent in something like a non-dual realization, I had a point in time when I had the non-dual realization. I realized there's nothing to do, nothing to gain. I don't really need to do anything. Everything is already perfect. And I sat in that for a while, and I didn't do a whole lot. As far as my energy and my productive level, I wasn't doing a whole lot. But life will make you do what you need to do. You're not in control of it. So suddenly I had emergencies happen. So with the emergencies, I obviously had to get up and deal with them, I couldn't just sit there and not do anything. I had extra bills come up to where I had to go back to work. I had to do more things to earn more money. So while I could say, oh, I don't have to do anything, things in life started happening to where I had to do something. So life will do things like your life will be really full for a moment, and then there'll be some lack. Real full and then some lack. And when there's some lack, we have to get up and do these things to meet our needs. A lot of times it's just survival needs and things like that. So life will put you in situations where you'll have to grow. You'll have to move. You won't ever be staying the same. So there's no fear in that. Non-duality is literally just that. It's life as it happens. If suddenly a family member of yours dies and you're stricken with grief or you have to make a bunch of decisions, or you have to make a life change. That's life doing life. That's non-duality already. That's it. So anything and everything can appear and happen, and it's always changing. And even if you say to yourself, I'm not going to do anything anymore, there's nothing to do, life will make you do something. There's just no way around it. So whatever you are doing currently, whether that's non-duality, Christianity, atheism, anything, it's all accepted. It's all okay. Whatever is resonating with your heart, that's where you should go. Overall, love is our greatest teacher. So if we can follow love and show love and go to those places, life will be a lot easier. But regardless, everything is already happening as it should, and really we can't make a choice of it. But in making this video, I have no choice in making this video. You have no choice that you're watching it. And as you're watching it, you have no choice as in what this is going to do for you next. What you're going to do next, what you're going to watch next, what you're going to do next in your life. Maybe if a belief is going to fall away, whatever. We have no control of that. These things just happen. So non-duality is not fake. If you are stuck in a non-dual circle of neoadvita and just not getting anywhere, that's what's happening there. That's what's happening. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's no wrong way. So if you want to step outside of that and do something different, if you want to go back to meditating, if you want to go back to whatever your family's religion was, if you want to go back to doing this or that, it's all the same. And in the end, life is going to take you wherever it's going to take you. We have no control of that. So non-duality is not fake, because non-duality is just implying that there's not two. There's just one, and it is everything. So everything is connected, everything is unified, everything is in harmony, everything is already one and perfect. So there is nothing that anyone is doing wrong. So I don't need to start an argument with somebody. I don't need to comment on somebody's video and say it's incorrect, or I don't need to stop listening to such and such because they are part of a Buddhist society and I'm not a Buddhist. I can expand and keep myself open to everything because I am freedom. I'm open to everything. Freedom is everything. Liberation is everything. Not being limited or caged or boxed in to a certain belief or dogma. You're free. You're free to be anything you want to be. If I don't want to do non-duality next week, I can talk about something else, or I can do something else. You follow your heart, and everything out of love is going to lead you to exactly where you need to be. So, in conclusion, non-duality is not fake. It just means there's not two. There's just one, which eliminates you, the self. There is no selves. There is nobody in these bodies. It's all just arising as one unified source. And you are that. And this is that. And there's no other reality. There's no other place. It is literally life. Life is what we're talking about. However it happens, that is non-duality. It's life, however it's happening. Even if it's the worst person you can imagine in your mind, in your opinion, doing whatever, that is non-duality. That person, that's non-duality. Everybody is already that. So at the beginning of the video, I had talked about if you could stay on to the end of the video. So at the end of the video, I wanted to share with you that I have opened up the comment section. I had those closed when I was a little bit more closed-minded. As this is becoming more integrated in me, a lot more openness is happening. So originally, I disabled the comments because there is no other self, and opinions or comments or anything from anybody else didn't seem to be relevant to me at that time. But as this is becoming more integrated, my sense of love and wanting a community and wanting to unite with each and every person, because every view or every subscriber is an actual person, like a human arising. There might not be a self, but that is a human expression that is already connected to me, but I want to make that connection more and spread that love. So I've opened those comment sections up, and if you have any comments, please comment below. If you're new here and you like these kind of videos, subscribe and like the video. And I have also included my email below. I'm going to start doing a newsletter, and that will be a weekly newsletter. So if you'd like that, go ahead and send me an email and I'll put you on the mailing list, and you'll get that email once a week. The other part of it would be that I'm considering going live, because I have some people asking questions and things like that that may not exactly want the one-on-one sessions. So I may just do like a live question and answer probably next week. And if you join my mailing list, I will send out the details of that, and so that you can join that if you are interested in participating in a live question and answer with me. So there's just going to be some changes and things here and there, because I'm wanting to build more of a community and make more connections and get more unified with everybody, even though it already is unified. There is so much love and support that I've already gotten from a lot of my viewers who have commented or emailed me, and I really appreciate that, and I hope that that you've enjoyed this video. So thank you for watching.